What is going on YouTube? Jay here from MJTech. Today trying a budget phone. This is the first for 2021, at least for me, and this one here has a very low price considering what it is. It's about $149, and this is a phone that has many cameras on the back like we see on flagship devices. It has pretty okay specs, nothing to really brag about according to the price, but I can almost guarantee you that you will get much better specs with this budget phone than you would on any prepaid company out there, such as Metro PCS, Cricket Wireless, and all these companies that sometimes do not offer the best phones in the market. Sometimes they do come with specials, but that's only if you're doing a number transfer or if it's some special time like the holidays and whatnot. But let's just go ahead and try this one out and give it a chance. So this phone again was purchased with the Amazon Prime, so it got here very quickly as always. On the box here, on this cover, we have some of the quick specs. You can see here it has a decent battery, decent RAM, and decent display size. And of course on the back we have the serial number, IMEI information, so on and so forth. So getting a look here inside of the box, we get the phone. Then we have a little divider here where we find a little welcome little card here, which is cool. We have some stickers, we have the manuals, a little SIM ejector tool, and for my surprise it comes with a case. Now this is great because we know that sometimes these budget devices, especially when they are new to the market, well, it is kind of difficult to go to any retail store locally and find a case. So it is always great when they come included. Inside here we have a standard 5-volt 2-amp charger. We get the USB-C cable and some earphones, and they are made by NUU. So there we have it for the accessories inside of the box. Let's go ahead and jump into the phone and see what it's all about. Alrighty guys, so first things first, here we have the cover that comes from factory, and we can see that this is a 4G LTE device. Now I have to admit that even though I have a 5G phone already, which is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I gotta say the 5G is not yet what I expect it to be. So 4G LTE should be more than sufficient, at least for the beginning of this year. So we have a 6.55 inch notchless display, so that means that we're going to get that punch hole for the camera. Now this one has a 91% screen to body ratio. It comes with the Helio A25, which is a 1.8 gigahertz octa-core processor with 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage. Keep in mind that you can always upgrade it. We have a multi-lens system on the back with a 5000 milliamp battery. Now something that this phone is lacking right off the bat is waterproofing. It doesn't have NFC, and it doesn't have optical image stabilization. For those of you who know me, I always say that these would be the basic things nowadays on budget devices, but this one is quite cheap. Like I said before, the highest price that I've seen for it is about $149. So anyways, here we have the display that I was talking about before with a 16 megapixel selfie camera. On the side here we have the SIM tray, and the body here is made out of plastic, and it does have a weight to it, maybe because of the battery. Towards the bottom here, we still have the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is quite rare to see. The main microphone, the USB-C port with the loudspeaker, and towards the right here, we have the volume rockers up and down with the power button. Looking at it from the back side here, we'll be find the camera setup. We have a 16 megapixel main shooter. We have a 2 megapixel macro lens, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and we have a depth sensor lens as well with the LED flash right here, the fingerprint scanner. And like I said before, inside we have a 5000 milliamp battery. Unfortunately, this phone doesn't support wireless charging either, so that's another feature that we are missing, which is quite popular now on many devices in the market. So let's go ahead and get this thing booted up. It comes with Android 10 out of the box, and it did get a little update. It has some bugs in the system, I am assuming, and so yes, it did come with an update already. And here we can see that the display, it's close to being a bezel-less phone, except that on the bottom side here we have a little bit of a chin. That's why they call it 91% screen to body ratio. But yeah, so far, you know, I gotta say from the display here that it has deep blacks, and that's the good thing about it. The bad thing about it is that it is only under 300 ppi, which is not a lot, and second, this is a 720p display. So let's go ahead and enter here my passcode, And here, the first thing that we are going to test is the face unlock. And right there, you guys notice that it took a few seconds to load up. And well, that's because of the processor. It is not the strongest out there in the market. However, it does okay job, especially if you're not downloading a lot of applications. I did have a whole bunch of them on here, but then I had to restore it, and after that I went ahead and downloaded all the applications again, and everything seems to be working okay. I did test it already, Ospo 9, and that did okay with this particular processor. However, it tends to get a little bit warm on the backside. So one of the first features that I want to test here before I continue with the system and all the other features is going to be the face recognition. For this, you have to press on the power key. Once you do so, it'll recognize it, and that seems to be working actually quite fast. Let's go ahead and try that here one more time. I do have the camera in front of me, so it is delaying just a little bit. It's usually a little bit faster. And now I want to try here with you guys the fingerprint scanner. Now the fingerprint scanner is not as accurate. Sometimes I have to press it or put my fingerprint twice on it so that it reacts. Now here we have the carrier. A lot of people say, Jay, I am not getting a service with Verizon. In this particular phone and on many other phones that I've tested in the past, I do get service here with Verizon. I have the 5G SIM, which is the one coming from my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and everything is working great. I get voice over LTE, and here to further prove it, let's go into the lock screen. It should say up here Verizon, and it did unlock, but I'm going to try to put this in a little angle here so you can see right there Verizon, and yes, everything is working. I'm able to complete phone calls just fine, and I have no issues whatsoever. Now getting here to the system, this is almost stock Android 10, and it has all the G apps, and they even use the Google camera, they use the Google messages, so on and so forth. So this is quite of a clean phone when it comes to the operating system. It doesn't have bloatware, and again, it does the job okay. It is not the best performing processor out there. So this is mainly if you guys want it for, let's say, maybe use it a couple times for the camera, maybe just text a lot, surf the web, check your emails, things of that nature. But this is not recommended really as a heavy game phone. Like I said before, I played Ospo 9 and it did heat up a little bit, and the game wasn't as fluent, but everything else works okay. So here for the benchmarks, I did the AnTuTu. I still use this just for reference purposes, and I got a very low score for about 103,000, and it fluctuated. It went, the highest was about 107,000, so that's not a big difference. And here we have the device's information with all the specs. They call it the MTK6762, as you can observe right there. Again, 720p display, and it has less than 300 ppi. There it is, 268 to be specific. So again, the display is not the best, but it does have good viewing angles overall, and it has deep blacks like I mentioned before, so that makes it look a little bit refreshing to the eye, but it's not the best out there. So another downside of this device is that, again, it doesn't have NFC, doesn't have wireless charging, something that I am not truly a fan of, especially not having wireless charging and NFC, which I see myself using quite a bunch. So here we have the settings. Of course, Face ID works. We already tested that. We got the fingerprint. Other than that, the only special feature that we really get here is one of them is intelligent assistant. So this we have seen in the past. You can activate the flip to silent, which basically the way it works is that when you get a phone call, if you have this enabled, you simply put your phone upside down and it will reject the call. It has anti-fake touch mode. This is in case you pocket dial by accident a lot. You can have this turned on and that won't happen any longer. You have the 3 fingerprint screenshot. If you enable this and you swipe the screen with 3 fingers, it'll take a snapshot. Of course, you can calibrate your sensors and whatnot. And then we have smart touch which is on the iPhone we call it assistive touch. So if you enable this and you have a couple different features you can choose from, you can see it right here. It looks like assistive touch. If you single click, it'll go back to the previous page. If you double click, it'll go back to the home screen. If you long press it, it'll go to the lock screen, so on and so forth. You can definitely change you know, the things that you want it to do. You can have this, let's say if you long press it, you can have it open the camera, so on and so forth. Okay, guys, when it comes to the camera, now that we are in it, well, it does the job okay for photos. It does have that micro lens, which you know, is really cool, especially if you want to take those close-up detail photos. It does it with ease. And the bad side of it is that it doesn't have optical image stabilization, as I mentioned before, and the colors are not really accurate. But what really gets to me is the fact that it doesn't have any image stabilization. So when you are shooting a video out there, in this case I did it at 1080p, it seems to be a little bit jumpy, and I just didn't truly enjoy the camera. So like I said before, this is not for professional photography. If you're looking for something that has professional photography, then you need to go more into the flagship side of smartphones, and of course that will cost you more. But for basic shooting, this phone will do the job just fine. So here, of course, we have then the front-facing camera, which is the 16 megapixel shooter, and the colors are not very accurate right now. It looks super red, so that's not my realistic color. Of course, you can change this on manual mode, or what they call it pro mode here. You can definitely fix it, but yes, it is not just the best camera, hands down, unfortunately. But at this price point, we really can't expect much of this device. So here, going back into the system, like I said before, phone calls are doing perfectly well. I get voice over LTE, so people can listen to me very, very nicely. Now, something that I found to be a little bit towards the poor side is the loudspeaker down here. That didn't work so well for me. And here I have YouTube to give you guys a little sample. I believe I logged in into my account, and yes, I am logged in. So let's go here into my videos real quick. Let's go and play one of the latest ones and just listen to it, so that way you can hear that the sound coming from this device is just not the best. It sounds, I would say, flat, and it doesn't have that 3D feel to it. So let's play this video real quick.
What is going on YouTube? Jay here from MJTech. Today coming with a very cool little gadget that I picked up from Amazon with the Prime service, and this one has a retail value of about $40. I was able to get it for $32 US, again with the Prime service, so it got here very quickly. And this is basically a pen with a whole bunch of features.
So just to give you a better example, this speaker sounds when you are using a camera to record a TV in front of you, and just the way the audio kind of transmits through your microphone on any camera out there, well, that's exactly how this sounds. It just sounds like I recorded with a very cheap microphone, and that it just sounds flat and not so great. So that's how I would describe it. It doesn't have stereo speaker, so that's another downside for this device so far. But again, for the price, you guys can't expect much. I mean, overall it does okay for basic usage. Another thing is, something positive about this phone is going to be the battery. The battery, I was able to get 2 full days using it as my primary device, and that was as usual, watching videos, playing Bluetooth music all day long, checking my text messages, shooting videos, taking photos, so on and so forth. I used it a little bit heavier than I do with my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I was able to get 2 full days, and that's thanks to that Helio A25 processor, also known as the MTK 6762. It does a pretty decent job with the battery, so this is definitely a great lasting phone, and I don't have any complaints in that category. The battery is great, and that's all it is. So with this being said, guys, on the comment section below, I want you to let me know what you think about this phone. If you were in an extreme budget, would you choose something like this with just 4G LTE support? It does work with Verizon though, but it is missing a couple features, or you would just try to get something pre-owned with more features. Just let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and share, and also click on that bell icon so that you don't miss future reviews. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next one.